What's up, fellas? Long time no see. Finally got a new computer so I can get videos taken care of. Can get the old one fixed. Um, so I'll bring you guys the end of the year review. Obviously, we know how the season went. We know that Kenny was able to sneak out the victory over Derek on Monday night. It was a close game. It was cool to see it come down to Monday night. But Derek, unfortunately had some injuries to his team with Hubbard going to IR, Kamara being out, and it made it a little bit difficult. Plus, the last week with games being all over the place does make things a little bit more difficult as well. But congrats to Kenny. He's a first-time winner. He's been in the league for a while. I'd have to look at the record, see how long he's been in the league, but I know it's been a good bit. So congratulations to him. Obviously, he's in the same area with Dalton, the previous champ, so they'll work on figuring out the belt situation, and I will pay out the winnings. You guys will probably have it by the time you even watch this video, because as soon as I get the recording and uploading it, I'll get that sent out. But main purpose of the video is kind of to cover the season. Obviously, before the season began, after the draft, I basically gave a ranking for the best draft pick for each round, as well as the worst draft pick for each round. So I will go over that and also update that to the best draft pick for each round and the worst draft pick for each round after the season. And obviously, we know how things panned out. I do have updated power rankings, like end of the year power rankings. I'll share as well. The draft order is situated as well. I will have all that posted in the group message. You guys will all see it. So no point really discussing too much on the video. The draft orders are already posted on the league page on ESPN on the homepage for next season. So you guys all know where you're drafting. So, for you that might be psychopaths like Dakota and probably start mock drafting in like February, he'll know where he is going to be drafting so he can plan accordingly. But let me jump into the draft review and the season review, essentially. So before the season started, I had the best pick in the first round being CeeDee Lamb. That was pick 1.6 by Dakota. Obviously not a bad pick. CeeDee Lamb had a very good season, and could still technically have been the best pick. If I wanted to go that route and just say I was right, essentially. But the best pick in round one has to go to Dalton. He was the last pick in the first round, and his pick is Saquon Barkley, who unfortunately is not going to break the rushing record because I just got notified that he is going to rest on Sunday. Smart play by the Eagles for their long-term, goals, but obviously we all kind of wanted to see him break the record, especially against the Giants, which would have been pretty cool and a good storyline. So great pick there. Obviously led him to a third-place finish, so congratulations. And then I had the worst pick in the first round being Bijan Robinson. He was picked 1.2 by Michael. Bijan obviously didn't live up to 1.2, but he also wasn't a bad pick. I still think probably he was still been, how the season went, probably still been a first-round pick. So not a horrible pick, just obviously at the time I thought it was a little too high. Unfortunately, I have the worst pick in the first round going to, I put Christian McCaffrey. He was the 1.1. Picked by Garrett. He obviously was hurt majority of the year, which is unfortunate. Did play some, and even when he played, he kind of wasn't his old self. It kind of seemed like maybe the injuries are still bothering him. Maybe even the 49ers as a team, struggled on and off all throughout the season. So never know how that goes, but obviously tough pick being the first pick. But Garrett's team was able to still recover, make the playoffs. Just couldn't get too much further than that. I had the best pick in the first round before the season going to myself with the pick of Marvin Harrison Jr. at pick 2.9. I still believe Marvin Harrison is a great player. I don't know what the Cardinals are doing. I don't understand the situation there. But obviously, he had an extremely disappointing season. Definitely was not the best rookie wide receiver. And just tough. I mean, it was detrimental to my team, him and obviously, if we don't give CMC the worst pick in the first round here, it probably would go to Breece Hall, who I picked. So two of the worst picks. Obviously, I do have Harrison as one of the worst picks in the second round, along with another guy we'll discuss here. I do have the best pick in the second round going to Derek. His pick at 2.6 was Derrick Henry. Obviously, Derrick Henry had a monster season being on the Ravens. Him and Barkley kind of bringing back the running backs. Even Joe Mixon was doing that for a little bit for the Texans. All these running backs going to new teams and just having amazing seasons. Kind of putting the notion that, hey, running backs are not dead. We're still here. So great pick there. I have the worst pick in the before the season. I had the worst pick in the second round going to Joe Mixon at pick the last pick in the second round. It was picked by Garrett. Obviously, Joe Mixon ended up having a very good season for a good chunk. He started off very good, and then probably after week 10 or something, kind of tailed off some injured. I think he was injured a little bit, and then the Texans just kind of started flopping. But obviously, he ended up having a good season, so bad call by me there. And then I had the worst pick after this season in the second round going to, obviously, myself, Marvin Harrison, and also Travis Etienne. He was picked right after Marvin Harrison at 2.10, picked by Jason. Obviously, Etienne had a atrocious season. Not even worth a top 10 round pick. He was pretty bad this year, as Jacksonville was in general. Moving on to the third round, I had the best pick in the third round going to Davante Adams at pick 3.6 by Dakota. Obviously, Davante was traded during the season. A lot of guys who got traded during the season, we all thought it was going to be, oh, wow, better situation, high hopes for him. Deontay Johnson got traded. Oh, better situation, better quarterback. Adams, he's going back to Rodgers. He's going to be the man now. And he did. There was 2 or 3 games near the end of the year where he actually did put together some very good games. But for the most part, just wasn't that great, unfortunately. And then I have the best pick in the third round going to Garrett. He had 3.1, and his pick of Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs was on a new team as well. Forgot about him when I was talking about that earlier on the Packers. Very good season. I didn't even realize how good his season was, and then I looked and they were like, oh yeah, he's got crazy amount of points, averaging every game. I was like, geez, they're really using him. So best pick there goes to Josh Jacobs. Before the season, I had the worst pick in the third round going to Jason at 3.3, who picked Ken Walker. Ken Walker had a up and down season. Obviously had some injuries, and then Charbonnet was eating into that a little bit. But not a horrible season, but probably not the worst pick in that round. I have the worst pick in round 3 going to Mark. His pick at, looks like 3.5 with the pick of Michael Pittman. Obviously, Anthony Richardson can't throw the ball. Joe Flacco had 1 week where he looked like, hey, I'm about to bring a spark. I'm going to get it done for you guys. And then Joe Flacco went in the shitter. So the Colts can't throw the ball very well. I don't think Michael Pittman is really that much better than a lot of the other guys they have. He's a possession receiver, a big body. He can't separate. They got Downs. They got Adonai Mitchell, Alec Pierce. I don't think he's that much better than those guys. So very, very bad pick there in my opinion. Just a tough year. He's just obviously not in a good situation either. Before the season, I had in the 4th round Deebo Samuel being the best pick by Dakota at 4.7. Obviously, Deebo was a major disappointment this year. Not sure if he was playing injured. Even after Brandon Ayuk got hurt, we were like, oh, it's about to be Deebo time. He's the number 1 now. No doubt about it. Him and Kittle. They don't have CMC, and it just never happened. I have a feeling maybe he's playing hurt. Obviously, I think he played pretty well this past week, but it's kind of a little too late. I have the best pick in round 4 going to Garrett. His pick at the very end of the 4th round with Lamar Jackson. I know for me to put him here, there had to have been some other quarterbacks picked before him. Obviously, Lamar Jackson's having another MVP type season. He is obviously a very unique quarterback. I want to say 1 of 1, but Jaden Daniels is kind of very similar. Running a ton, throwing a ton, just very, very athletic, very elite quarterbacks. So great pick by Garrett there. And then before the season, and this is actually one I got correct. It'd probably be one of very, very few I got correct. I had the worst pick in the 4th round going to Mark at pick 4.8, his pick of Zamir White. And then obviously we all know Zamir White did absolutely nothing. I believe he got hurt at some point, but even when he was healthy, he wasn't good. Just horrible pick at that point in the draft. And that obviously ended up being correct. Moving on to round 5, I had the best pick in round 5 going to Amari Cooper. He was picked by Dalton at 5.12. Amari Cooper didn't have a very good season. He obviously moved teams during the season. We all thought, oh, here he's with Josh Allen now. Same situation, going to a new team, better quarterback, better team, situation, and never really panned out. So tough there. So obviously not that great of a pick in the long run. I had the best pick in round 5 going actually to myself. At pick 5.4, I picked Malik Neighbors, and we know he was in my opinion, the best rookie receiver this year. I have him, higher than Brian Thomas and Ladd McConkey. Those are some of the other guys competing because Marvin Harrison damn sure ain't competing with his numbers. But Malik Neighbors obviously had a very good season. He's very talented. If he was on a team with a quarterback, he might have been top 5. He has just been amazing. He's obviously very close with a shit quarterback. So he even killed it this past week. For those who were lucky enough to be in championships with him, he probably did a very good job helping them win. So a very good pick by me there. Before the season, I had the worst pick in round 5 going to Mark at 5.5 with his pick of Calvin Ridley. I just thought it was too early to take Calvin Ridley there. Obviously, don't have quarterback in Tennessee. Calvin Ridley he had a couple weeks, 2 or 3 weeks where he was solid as far as I can recall, but obviously not a very good situation there. But I do have the worst pick in round 5 going to Kenny with pick at looks like 5.1. He picked Dalton Kincaid. We all thought, hey, he's the number 1 receiving option in Buffalo. He's got Josh Allen, and it just never panned out. I'm not sure where he ranks amongst tight ends, but it's definitely not top 10. So to pick him in round 5 is very early and not a very good pick. Moving on to round 6, I have the best pick in round 6 going to DJ at 6.2. He had drafted James Conner. James Conner still had a great season. Very good pick there. So I wasn't too far off on that. But when we look at round 6, I gave the best pick in round 6 to Kenny. At pick 6.3, his pick of Terry McLaurin. Very good pick there. McLaurin's a top 10 receiver on the year, I believe. Him and Jaden Daniels have a little bit of a connection. So very, very good pick there. Another one that it looks like I got right. Obviously, it was kind of, I guess, easy in a way. But in the 6th round, I had the worst pick going to Dakota at 6.7, picking Jonathan Brooks. We all know going into the season, he was coming off of ACL surgery, and he was probably going to miss half the season. Well, he did. I think he missed a smidge more maybe. But even when he came back, he did absolutely nothing. Chuba Hubbard was the man there and still is, except he's on IR. And Jonathan Brooks is also hurt again, so he's out. So just very, very rough pick. The draft a running back that is on a shit team, honestly, and is going to miss half the season in the 6th round is very, very odd, I guess. And then we move on to the 7th round. I had the best pick in the 7th round going to Dakota at 6.6, his pick of Anthony Richardson. Obviously, that was not a very good pick. But we all are enamored with his upside, his running ability. So I thought it was a good pick at the time. I had the best pick in the 7th round going to Derek at 7.7, his pick of Ladd McConkey. I wasn't big on him, but him and Herbert, he's obviously number 1 guy there, and he gets it done, man. He can get open. He runs the routes very well, and they just have a connection. And obviously Harbaugh being there probably helps out with that. So very good pick by Derek there. Before the season in round 7, I had the worst pick going to Derek with Ladd McConkey, so obviously that is 100% incorrect. I thought it was just a little early at the time, but clearly a very good pick. And now I have the worst pick In round 7, going to Dalton. At 7.12, he drafted Deontay Johnson. Deontay Johnson, I want to say he had like a few good, maybe 2 or 3 good weeks in Carolina. They traded him, and then he essentially never played again, pretty much. Refused to go. I think he refused to go into a game, got cut. Now he's on the Texans, and I have a weird feeling like maybe he'll have like a decent game in the playoffs for him when they lose in the first round because they're not very good. They're just in a shit division, but we'll see how that goes. Moving on to round 8, I had the best pick before the season. Round 8 going to Dalton with 8.1 with Kyler Murray. He was up and down this year. Obviously in round 8 at a quarterback, you're not drafting one too early, so not a horrible pick there, but probably didn't pan out quite the way I thought. I had the best pick in round 8 going to Garrett, pick 8.12. He drafted Brock Bowers. Obviously Brock Bowers, amazing tight end. He's on a shit team, and it doesn't seem to make a difference for him. He's solid. He's going to be a perennial Pro Bowl tight end, all-pro tight end for majority of his career, it looks like. I had the worst pick in the 8th round going to Mark. His pick at 8.8 with Ezekiel Elliott. Obviously, I wasn't wrong there. Ezekiel Elliott sucked this year. I didn't want him back in Dallas. He's fat. He's slow. He doesn't do anything, and we just cut him this week because he said he wanted to be cut. He didn't want to play anymore. So glad. I hope he probably doesn't play again. And then I still think, hindsight, that still was one of the worst picks in the round. But I also added Josh here at pick 8.4. His pick of Rome Odunze there never panned out. He might have had a good week or two, but obviously Bears aren't that good of a team. And obviously he was behind definitely Keenan Allen. I know Keenan Allen had some big weeks. It was pretty solid. And DJ Moore was blah here and there, but obviously Rome Odunze didn't do much. Moving on to round 9. Before the season, I had Mark's pick of Tony Pollard in round 9. Tony Pollard actually was pretty good this year, so not a bad pick there, not a bad decision by me there. I just think when we look back, I have the best pick in round 9 going to Josh at 9.9, his pick of Chase Brown, and then also Dalton at 9.12, picking Brian Thomas Jr. Chase Brown and Brian Thomas Jr. both finish probably I'm not looking it up, but I'm sure they're both probably top 10 at the position. So both extremely good picks, at that point in the draft. Had the worst pick going to Austin Eckler at pick 9.2 by Michael. Obviously, probably not too far off. Eckler didn't really do too much this year. But after reviewing everything, the worst pick in round 9 goes to myself at 9.4, picking Blake Corum, the backup for the Rams. Obviously, rookie. I thought, hey, man, Kyren Williams got a lot of run last year. Probably going to get hurt. Blake Corum would be great. Kyren Williams never got hurt. And Sean McVay doesn't do running back by committee. So Kyren Williams plays probably like 70, 80% plus of the snaps. So Corum doesn't see the field very often. Never got to use him. I'm very stubborn. So I refuse to drop him just in case, because I promised the week I would have dropped him, Kyren would have got hurt, and then we all would have been scrambling on waivers for him, and I didn't want to go that route, so very bad pick by me there. In round 10, I had the best pick in round 10 going to Nick Chubb, 10.7 to Dakota. Obviously, just never panned out. I mean, I've always been a Nick Chubb guy, but never did much, and then obviously is hurt again. I had the best pick in round 10 going to Mark. He had picked 10.8. He picked Jerry Jeudy. Started off slow to the season, but once they put Jameis Winston in there, Jerry Jeudy was like a firework, man. He lit on fire. Bunch of good weeks. So solid pick there at that point in the draft. I had the worst pick in round 10 going to Josh at 10.4 with Darnell Mooney. Obviously, Darnell Mooney had some huge weeks. Actually, a pretty solid pick in round 10, so very poor decision by me there. Obviously, I thought London and Pitts and Bijan are going to be the guys, but, I mean, Mooney outperformed Pitts easily. It was pretty close with London, at a lot of the season. Obviously, Bijan's Bijan, but so ended up being a good pick by Josh there. And then in round 10, I have the worst pick going to Derek at pick 10.6. He picked Adonai Mitchell. Obviously, I'm not even sure he had a week where he was worth playing. Obviously, same situation as Pittman on a crappy team passing-wise, so obviously not a great pick there. Round 11, I had the best pick before the season going to Kenny at 11.1 with Tyler Lockett. That didn't work out. Thought process was good. It obviously wasn't Lockett. It ended up being JSN, who was the great pick there, and I'm sure he will get mid. Actually, I don't have him anywhere. So I don't know what round he was drafted in, but I don't have him as one of the best picks. So, oops, maybe I made a mistake there. I don't know, but he obviously was amazing this year. It wasn't Lockett, so bad decision by me. I had the best pick in round 11 going to myself at pick 11.4. I picked Rico Dowdle. Obviously, he ended up being a starting running back all year. A lot of weeks he was playable. So solid pick, solid starter to get in round 11. Worst pick in round 11 I gave to Garrett, who picked Xavier Legette at 11.1. Obviously, still not necessarily a bad decision on my part. He never really did much. So good thought process by me. And then I also marked here anybody before the season. I put anybody who picked a kicker in that round, which would have been DJ, Michael, and Derek. They all picked kickers, and I marked them all as worst, and probably still panned out that way because I do have the worst pick in round 11 going to Michael. At pick 11.2, he picked Justin Tucker. I want to say that was the first kicker taken off the board. And Justin Tucker, we all know it was a rough year for him. Missed a lot. I'm not sure why he's struggling so much, but it is what it is. Round 12, we're almost wrapping up here. I know this is kind of long. Round 12 got Derek. Before the season, I said his pick of Chuba Hubbard at 12.6 was the best pick, and that was the best pick in that round. Chuba Hubbard had a very, very good season, got himself a new contract, broke 1,000 yards rushing, was a solid guy to play every week, no doubt about it. So that ended up being a great, choice by Derek, and also decision by me before the season started. Before the season started, I had the worst pick in that round going to Ray. He had 12.5. He picked Jalen Wright. Obviously, looking back at it, I'm like, shit, if he would have picked Hubbard, one pick ahead would have done a huge benefit for him. Jalen Wright obviously did nothing this year, barely played. So ended up being a good decision by me to put him as the worst pick. Still think he was one of the worst picks, but I also mentioned here at pick, 12.9, I'm assuming I picked Ty Chandler, who didn't do much this year. And then Michael's pick of Kendre Miller were also pretty bad picks. And this is the last round I'm going to cover here for the most part. I had the best pick before the season going to Dalton, who picked Josh Palmer at 13.12. Palmer did okay, but obviously ended up being Ladd McConkey as the number one option there. I thought maybe it was going to be Palmer, so not crazy there. And then I have the best pick in that round going to Kenny at 13.1. He picked Tyrone Tracy. Once he took over the job from Devin Singletary, he never looked back on a shit team, but he was very solid. Great pick at that point in the draft. I didn't put a worse pick in round 13 before the season. And then looking here, I have the worst pick in round 13 going to Dakota at 13.6, picking Marshawn Lloyd. I don't even know how much he played this year. He could have been hurt for all I know. I don't know. I just know I'm pretty sure he's in Buffalo. Obviously, he didn't do anything, so I have him as the worst pick there. Don't have anything around 14 before the season or after the season. Obviously, we're talking into the draft, kickers, defenses, doesn't really matter. Round 15, I didn't have anything before the season. I do want to mention after the season in round 15, Michael at pick 15.11 drafted Keenan Allen. So obviously, very, very good pick there. Worked out very well for him. So congrats on the pick there. So that wraps up the end of the season review. The power rankings, I'll just mention them here. I got Kenny 1, Dalton 2, Derek 3, Garrett 4, Michael 5, Ray 6, Josh 7, myself 8, Dakota 9, DJ 10, Mark 11, Jason 12. And then the draft order for the upcoming season, it will be, let me get this pulled up again because it just went away. It'll be in this order: Ray 1, Dakota 2, myself 3, DJ 4, Mark 5, Jason 6, Garrett 7, Michael 8, Josh 9, Dalton 10, Derek 11, and Kenny 12. So that wraps up the season. Had another good season with you guys. Really enjoyed it. I'll be excited again for next season, when that time comes. But I hope you guys had a great 2024, enjoyed the holidays with your friends and your families, and are ready to have a great 2025. God bless, and see you guys next time.